What's going on, guys? Boss with Basics here, with another video, and today I have something intriguing for the Antelope Army. I'm going to be doing a retrospective of a show that has been going on for 3 seasons, and I'll just screw it. You guys already know what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about Lost Tapes. One of my favorite shows growing up as a kid that scared the shit out of me. 2 particular episodes I'm going to be talking about here soon, but this show is just... mwah. It's beautiful. I love not every episode. Don't worry, I'll be talking about the terrible ones in later installments. So today, I'm going to be doing a retrospective of all 3 seasons of it, starting off with the one that started it all, Season 1. Now, fun fact, this has 2/3 of, the Holy Cryptid trilogy. Maybe if you count Monterey Bay, even though it's not Loch Ness. And it's Chubacabra and Bigfoot. And don't worry, I'll be talking about the episodes here in a little bit. So, yeah, it kind of has that. We did not get a Loch Ness episode. And that's a shame, because I would love to see a Loch Ness episode. But, anyways, without further ado, let's talk about Season 1 of Lost Tapes. Now, Season 1 starts off with Chubacabra. Now... this is a pretty damn good episode. This is how you start off an episode of a new show. It's where a Mexican family is trying to get into the States when a coyote, somebody that will help somebody, helping immigrants get into the States, abandons them halfway, and they are, being tracked down by the legendary Chubacabra. And then they find their bodies, they find a little girl, and, the police detectives manage to find the thing, shoot at it, and it ventures off into the woods. Now, again, if you guys haven't done this, there's going to be spoilers. And I'm going to be trying to do this as quickly as I possibly can, because there are 14 episodes of this, actually. This is the only episode to feature this amount of episodes. So that's another interesting fact. Very good. Very, very good. I highly recommend this. This is how you start off a season of a new show. It's got facts about the Chubacabra. It's got, interviews, documentaries. It's, Latin for goat sucker. It even has that one famous photo of a woman claiming she got the head of a Chubacabra, which, she cut its head off and put it in a thing of frozen ice and all that stuff. This is just a great way to start off a show. So then, episode 2, which kind of gets changed a lot, because when you buy the DVDs, it says, it'll say one episode when a Wikipedia says another one. So I'm just going on Wikipedia. Number 2 is Bigfoot. Oh boy, Smaug loves this episode, and if you guys get that, then you get that. A journalist by the name of Rachel Glenn, is, studying the facts of, how bears, live in the wildlife and all that stuff. Well, she's unwittingly known she is being tracked down by a poacher, but what the poacher doesn't know is that he's being watched by a Bigfoot who kind of has this connection towards the woman. Not in a love affection, but kind of like protecting her, as he doesn't like what the poacher's doing to her. And the poacher, is stalking her, telling her to get off the property, just being a total douche and a total creep. This is a pretty damn good episode. Again, this is another pretty good one. It, again, has good facts, has some pretty good interviews. They don't really delve way too much into Bigfoot, because there's other, varieties of Bigfoot that they will later, tackle into other episodes. But this is probably my second favorite Bigfoot episode, because it's fun. It kind of sets the pace, and it's kind of tense in some ways when the guy's about to kick the door down, and then the Bigfoot just slaughters him, and it's just good stuff. Good gore, good effects, good acting. Overall, really good sophomore effort. And then we go off the cliff with Monster of Monterey Bay. Holy hell, this episode is bad. Not because it's bad because of the monster effects. It is ungodly boring from start to finish. You barely see the thing. You only see the shadow of it the character, I'm pretty sure it's the same chick that played the Bigfoot. She is on this, going this around the world trip like she's Amelia Earhart or some shit. And she, is getting attacked by this creature, and she wants to know what's going on. And she's like on a Skype call with her boyfriend or husband or whatever the hell. And he's wondering, what's going on and all that stuff. And she finds another boat that has like a lot of blood on it and all that stuff. And my God, this episode, I did not care about it. I could have given less of a shit about this episode. And fun fact, this is Matt DM's worst or least favorite episode of Lost Tapes. He hates this more than another episode I'll be talking about in Season 3. Don't worry, we'll get to Season 3 here later. But my God, this episode just did not do it for me, guys. It's not my least favorite of Season 3. But it's very, very close. So yeah, this episode sucks. Oh, but it gets worse. Next one is Swamp Creature. This is my least favorite. This is ungodly boring. This is more boring than Monster Monterey Bay. Because at least with Monterey Bay, when she dies in the end, spoiler, she drowns underwater when she gets dragged by the thing, which why couldn't she just get gobbled up by it? No, she just gets drowned by it. Okay, if you have Aquafina, a fear of water, okay, you might think that episode's, it might frighten you a little bit. I couldn't give less of a shit about this one. Okay, it's two, marine biologists. I don't know the actual terminology for them, but it's two biologists, a mother and her son, and they go into the Louisiana swamp, and it talks about alligators. Apparently, the swamp creature is this half man, half alligator, hybrid. Cool in theory, horrible in execution. You see the little bit of a tail of the thing. There's this old guy that tells him, you shouldn't be out here and all that stuff. I just didn't care about this. This one just bored me to death. It's my least. This is the worst episode of Season 1, in my opinion. I mean, yes, it does talk about the Louisiana swamp and all the alligators and how Hurricane Katrina swept them all in 2005, but other than that, I just didn't care. I could barely remember what happened from this episode. This is how forgettable it is. So yeah, this one could go F off, and I wouldn't care. Next one, though, it redeems itself. Episode 5 is Oklahoma Octopus. A bunch of kids that graduated college go out into this lake, and they all get knocked off one by one slowly when they are, being destroyed by this, this tentacle monster known as Oklahoma Octopus. This is a very intriguing episode, mostly because I thought it sucked because I'm like, it's a water episode. And water episodes are very, very hit and miss. This may be one of the few exceptions. That and maybe another one in the later seasons. But this is probably the best one in terms of how they use the creature. Because water episodes are ass throughout this entire season. Don't worry. We'll be getting to one in Season 2. Oh boy, you guys will know what I'm talking about. But this episode's actually pretty damn good. The only thing that kind of pissed me off is how the ending. Every other person died, except for 2. They slowly swim out to the shore because they're out on this little dock area in the middle of the lake. And they try not to make noise, and they survive with tentacle bites. Bullshit! I call bullshit on that. Because you're telling me they swim all the way, it's all the way out there, and they swim all the way out here without getting attacked? Really? That's such a cheap move. I felt that was kind of stupid, but overall, I fairly enjoyed it. Good stuff here. It's a redeemer over the last 2. Can we move on with the momentum? Nope. Because then we have Devil Dragon, which basically talks about Komodo dragons. And Komodo dragons are scary as shit, don't get me wrong, because they'll freaking tear your bones into mush if they wanted to. The problem? They try to think it's bigger than the Megalania. The Megalania is 40 feet long. This thing is like out to here. It's about longer than it's probably longer than my room. And they try to think that the Devil Dragon is longer than that. No, I doubt that. So this guy goes into Australia and the Amazonian rainforest, or the Australian rainforest, and he's a survivalist. It's kind of like Bear Grylls, except if it wasn't fake. But, you know, he gets attacked by this thing, and you think that someone that is a natural-born survivalist would have med kits, blood, blood kits, and all that stuff on him. Nope. He tries to tie it off and just forget about it. And then he dies from, like, hallucination because he got bit by the thing. Okay, I get what they were trying to do here. It did not work. It did not work. This guy just came off as an idiot. And my God, I just thought this episode was dumb. Just dumb in every sense of the word, and I just didn't care about it in the end. So yeah, let's move on to Cave Demons. Cave Demons is really, really good. I think it's underrated. I see some people giving it shit because, oh, you can't see it. It's way too dark. Yes, in some ways, but at the same time, I get the, the creep vibe off of it. This is a really good episode. And it's where a bunch of military go into these caves in Afghanistan, and this happened a couple months after 9/11, and they go into this like cave that have like landmines and IEDs and shit, while unwittingly being stalked by cave demons, which is like bats with feminine, looking qualities, and they go into herds. I get an Aliens vibe off of this, and that's why I kind of like this episode, because I love Aliens. They swarm these guys. I mean, we get the horror movie cliche trope of the black guy dying first, and and I think it's surrounded, and the ending is like, the intensity levels like getting up to a T, and then all of a sudden one of the guys are like, oh Jesus God, and they're just like swarming them, and like the wings and the faces and shit, and oh my God, this is weird. This is a weird episode, but I love it. Again, this is pretty damn good. I fairly enjoyed this. And then we get to the creepiest one, Death Raptor, aka the Owl Man. Basically a group of paranormal investigators, and they go to find a little girl that has been seeing visions of this owl man, this owl-like creature that's been stalking her. Well, truth be known, the owl man takes her, they find her in a church, or they go to a church, and then they're being stalked by it. And then this old lady named Hazel goes to confront the thing because, it wants the girl, but, it's just weird shit where you'll take an old life and stuff and do what. I have no idea. But Hazel sacrifices herself, and they never see, tracks of the Owl Man again. This episode's just glooming with creep factor. Like, the images and just the fact that, wow, a little kid guy took him. Shit's getting real. And don't worry, there'll be another instance of a kid being, stalked by a creature. Oh boy, I can't wait to talk about that one. Ugh, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But, oh God. But yeah, this episode's creepy as shit. It's just balls to the wall and just flat out just jarring, to say the least. But yeah, pretty damn good episode. And then we get to Megaconda, Sneck. We get to talk about Sneck. I really enjoy this episode. As much as I despise the living hell out of snakes, I cannot stand those things. I can't. You bring one near me, I'm going to question our friendship. This is a really good episode. I enjoy this. Two guys go into this warehouse where this one guy named Ken Tobar is being like an animal blacklister and all that stuff. and they want to capture it and try to expose him to the government. Well, it turns out a giant crate that has a giant ass snake in it lets loose, and a security guard and his dog, gets there. The only thing I don't like is that A, a dog died, but B, the dog died, but it didn't get consumed whole. I understand what they were trying to do here. You don't want to see an animal die on screen, but it just got squeezed to death and died? I don't know, that's a bit weird. Now, yes, they should have gone with the Titan Boa aspect, but what we got was pretty damn good, and I thought it was actually a very enjoyable episode. Scott dies, one of the guys that's like trying to expose him, and the other thing that kind of pissed me off is the ending. Okay, so Ken Tobar arrives, and he gets killed by it. He gets, I think, consumed by it. Then they say that security cameras didn't capture it. I call bull. How do you not capture an 80-foot long snake consuming a guy? That is beyond dumb. That is beyond dumb. I think that is absolutely stupid. But overall, Megaconda, it's a very good episode. I fairly enjoy it. And yes, even though I hate the hell out of snakes, I think this is one of the best episodes in my opinion. Oh boy! We have Thunderbird! Yay! Okay, I'm just gonna say this right here, right now. I hated this episode when I initially watched it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was so cheesy and so just pretentious. I even said this is my least favorite episode. I thought this was worse than another episode. I thought this was worse than Q, for God's sake. Over time and rewatching it, I think it has some decent quality, and I cannot hate it for two things. Smalgas said this on his channel, which, by the way, go watch his videos on it. It's kid actors and it's African Americans. Those are both true statements. We don't get a lot of diversity in other seasons. We may have some a little bit in season 3, but a majority of the seasons have white people in it. Yeah, just take that in for a little bit there, folks. Yeah, I can't really hate it for that. I can hate it that it does not talk about the Thunderbird. They think it's a pterodactyl, which it isn't. It is not a pterodactyl. It is a giant-ass bird the size of a satellite dish can spot from 85 million yards in space, and they think it's lesser than that? No, I don't buy it. But besides that, I still don't like it, but I don't hate it as much. It's still bad, but not as bad as I originally thought it was. So, if you don't know, these 3 kids, they go and they try to go in the deepest part of the woods to find this little sewage thing where they do tricks for their skateboard video that they're going to show their parents. And my God, where's the concept of time in this episode? These kids are in the woods, what seems like 4 days at this point. And then one of the kids decides to be a total ass and scares the little one and consumably breaks his leg, and they leave him. They leave the little brother. What the hell, dude? You have a giant-ass bird floating around in the air, and you're leaving the little one out for prey, basically. Now, they did see in the episode that he got dropped off by a highway, but still, that's still dumb. It just, the stupidity in this episode just boggles the mind for me. All in all, I think this episode has some okay moments, but I still think it's pretty bad. So yeah, not hated as much, but I still don't like it. But then we get to my favorite episode, Skinwalker. Holy God, the guy interviewing this was probably uncomfortable. Yeah, the Navajo guy, he was probably shitting his pants at this point and probably praying to the Lord baby Jesus at this point. Because you guys don't know, Skinwalker is basically Lucifer to people. Well, it's kind of like Satan to the Navajo and the Navajo Indians and Native Americans and all that stuff. Yeah, Skinwalkers aren't really that kind. So basically, this kid goes to visit his parents' farm and tries to, make a video that he's going to send to his girlfriend. Well, they're talking about, sheep breeding. A mother sheep's about to give birth to a few lambs. Throughout the episode, they're kind of being watched a little bit. There's this weird Indian woman that's just looking at him, and then the intensity of this episode is just flat out insane. Because the Skinwalker is a shapeshifter. It turns into a bird at one point. It turns to a human. It turns into a wolf or a coyote. And they talk about how coyotes are attacking them. And then the father shoots it, but it disappears. What the hell is going on here? And it mimics voices. It mimics the wife at one point. And once the mother sheep gets mauled, that's where everything cranks up to 100. It's nonstop, just punches you right in the gut, just something out of an action film. And in the end, they basically kill the thing because they ran it over. And then they find the lamb inside of the sheep, like a lamb in sheep's clothing. That doesn't know how that worked, but I'm going with it. That is just creepy as shit. Like, I get nerves just watching the ending. I'm like, oh my god. No thank you. But yeah, Skinwalker is a fantastic episode. I think it's one of the best episodes in my opinion. Great. Talks about coyotes, talks about shape-shifting. The visuals are terrifying. It's just great stuff all around. And my favorite is season 1. Then we get to Mothman. Now, this is based on true events because back in, I think, 64, I believe, the Pleasant Bridge in West Virginia did collapse, and the Mothman was a conspiracy, being tied to it. Now, however you may feel about it is up to you guys in the comment section below. I ain't gonna be talking about conspiracies because I don't want Alex Jones to make a cameo on my videos. But I think this is a pretty damn good episode. I like it that it went back into went back into the 60s instead of going for, the modern 2000s and all that stuff. I like how they went back in time. Now, yes, the stuff between the wife and the husband is really awkward in a lot of scenes. But I like the message that the Mothman is trying to warn the guy and trying to get him out of there. I like that. It just kind of got executed. It kind of got executed a little sloppy in a lot of spots. But overall, I like this. I fairly enjoyed this episode. I gave it a thumbs up. Then we get to Death Worm. Oh, this one's disappointing, but I still kind of enjoy it. Basically, it's where two people are part of this, this race in the Gobi Desert, and, they're two friends, and they eventually get lost. Well, it's the Gobi Desert, how are you not going to get lost? Well, they try to, sleep it off because one of the ATVs died, and the one gets attacked by this Mongolian death worm, which has some interesting, abilities, like it spews acid and it has shock like electric eels, though. The problem the characters kind of suck. And kind of suck, they really suck. They're not interesting whatsoever. They're kind of boring. They're kind of just generic. And the guy at the end, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, is a little douche. One of them gets dragged, which is kind of funny. And the way that they use the dudes is actually kind of cool. But yeah, this one's okay. And then the guy is saying, it's all about the race. That guy's such an ass. That guy's annoying as hell. But yeah, overall, it's okay. I think it's okay. Then we get to the last one. Hellhound. Just kind of... Okay. I'm just going to state something here. I have nothing against people going goth. I'm listening to Type of Negative, for God's sake. Here's the thing. This episode is bad. It is bad. The only two things that I fairly enjoyed is the intro and the ending was kind of cool. Everything else is total hot garbage. The dog looks like Chop from GTA 5, but with painted black and has red eyes on it. That dog just wants a hug, and I'm going to give that dog a hug. 2, the story is uninteresting at every sense of the word. The characters are bad, the story is overall stupid, and there's more than the original people. There's like, what, 5 people? 5, 6 people? There was another guy there, and it turns out it was just a crew member. You can tell how much thought that was given into this episode. Now, yes, the Hellhound, awesome myth, awesome cryptid. It does not, the Hellhound doesn't need to be goth. It does not need to be emo. Seriously, folks, this whole stupid-ass ritual that these dumb kids are doing is completely forced. Forced story. The ending where if you see the Hellhound 3 times, bad luck will happen to you. And this witch woman, they crashed into a tree, and one of the girls that was invited to it was apparently a ghost. This episode sucks. I'm sorry. This is one of the worst episodes of season 1 in my opinion. It is forced, it is stupid, it is meandering, it is pretentious, and it is ungodly stupid. One of the worst episodes in season 1 in my opinion. Top 5 in my opinion. I honestly consider this the worst one, but if Swamp Creature and Monster Monterey Bay wouldn't have existed, this would have been a worse one. This was ungodly stupid and ungodly boring. So yeah, anyways, that is my retrospective on season 1 of Lost Tapes. I will be doing season 2 and season 3 here in a little bit. I've just been very busy with work, and I'm working on our project at the moment. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. What is your favorite, your least favorite, and what is your scariest one of Lost Tapes season 1? Let me know down in the comment section below. As I eat the paper, like, comment, subscribe, join the herd. I'll talk to you guys next video. Peace out.